Striker Scorpion 82 is now sponsored by Warhammer Combat Cards, a card battle game featuring your favourite Citadel miniatures from the 40k universe. Build your army decks, dominate opponents in player versus player action, collect and upgrade cards to fit your strategy, improve their power and unlock unique traits. Choose from all 40k factions, take part in campaigns based on iconic 40k battles, rise to the top of the leaderboard and win glory. Free to download and play. Link is in the video description below or on the channel homepage, and by using the unique link it helps support the channel. Thanks and enjoy the game. Right, welcome to this complete army video. It's for ELDAR CRAFTWORLDS here. So I've put together a new list and a new force, and in this series of videos I'll go through the entire list. We'll build up all of the units, talk about the whole army strategy, why I've chosen each unit, all the upgrades, Tactica for the units as well, and then right at the end of the video we'll zoom out and take a look at the whole army laid out on the table as well. So this series of videos is there to give you an in-depth sort of idea of how I build my lists and the reasoning behind each of the units that are taken. You can then check out the battle reports to see the different armies in action. So I've pretty much finished putting this army together. As you'll see, just last night finished painting up one of the HQ choices for this new ELDAR list. Very excited to see the ELDAR back on the battlefield again. They're a bit late coming to the league. Lots already taken place for season 8. But for the ELDAR, they have been waiting patiently for their time to burst onto the scene. A lot of pressure on them here. They usually try and go for the crown, usually try and go for glory. They've been denied a number of times, and I'm hoping this list will do well on the battlefield. So it is controversial. I try and do something a little bit different compared to what other standard armies are for the ELDAR at the moment, just trying out different things and experimenting. It was a unique list before, and it's going to be quite unique again. And just going through my ELDAR collection and bringing in some models and units that haven't been used literally for like a couple of years. So it'd be good to see some units making a comeback. If you like the look of the army, there is an ELDAR painting tutorial here on the channel, so you can check that out. It's pretty much the same. You can change the colours around, but it's pretty much the same technique that I've used for all the different aspect warriors and so on, just changing the colours around. But you can check that out. I show you how to paint one of the Wraith Guard in that video from start to finish, and that covers how I paint them up to how you see them on the screen here. So for the ELDAR, one of my earliest armies that when I got back into Warhammer 40,000, it was the Tau first of all, and then quite quickly after that got into the ELDAR. Just the dazzling array of different units that you can take and the glorious colour schemes. There is a start collecting ELDAR video already on the channel. You can check that out, and that gives you sort of an overview and a sort of a zoomed in close look at the models and so on, gives you an idea of what it's like to collect ELDAR. Still one of my favourite factions, and obviously as you can tell by the channel name Striking Scorpion 82, the Striking Scorpion is one of my favourite units in 40k. So the theme then for the ELDAR would be referring to that for some of the rules that have helped the ELDAR out to some degree. But ELDAR, you just look at the art. I usually look at the artwork to get an idea of how the army, read the background story and so on. But swift, dazzling display of skill, and not afraid to take the fight right up close and in amongst the enemies. So that's the kind of idea I wanted to reflect with the ELDAR. So you're going to see quite some fast elements to the army. They can be a little bit lean on the toughness side, so I've tried to compensate that a little bit with some of the units I've chosen, and then units that are happy to get stuck into close combat. There's a bit of a Tactica behind one of the main units that you'll see. It sort of, the army revolves around this larger unit, but we'll get into that as we go along. That's the kind of theme I'm going for. So an attacking style here for the ELDAR, and different types of units, but all working together as a team to try and bring about victory. So I'll build up the list and call the units out. I'll cover the points. This is chapter approved 2019, fully updated. So I'll give you all the points values. If you want to copy this entire list or use elements of it, for your own Eldar army. And again, this is just to give you an idea of how you can go about putting an Eldar army together. So, the structure for this force, the previous list, check out the previous video, I was struggling for command points. And that's a major factor now, is you need a nice lot of command points in your army. So a lot of armies have been pushing them towards sort of a double battalion as a minimum to try and get as many command points as possible. So, there's 3 detachments, a super heavy auxiliary detachment, that's 0 command points, and then double battalion. I've got 2 battalions. I used to have 1, I've got 2 battalions now, plus 5 command points each. And then Battle Forged as well gives me 13 command points. I'm not going to spend anything extra, I don't think, on extra relics, so I'm just going to stick at 13 command points. The 2 battalions then, I'm going to build up these 2 battalions, and the first, we'll start with this one. So I took my previous list, and the previous Eldar list did okay. Had some great victories, but sometimes it ran out of steam, just lack of models, and then towards the end of the game there's not much stuff left, and then starting to bleed victory points and so on as you surrender the battlefield because you've got no stuff left, and then a number of times the opponent was able to do better towards the end of the game because the Eldar just ran out of stuff. So I've tried to compensate for that, dropping some of the HQ choices here and there, and trying to bulk out with more infantry units just to field a bigger army on the battlefield. But I've picked out units that did well previously, taken the strengths and then tried to compensate for the weaknesses. So Eldrad is in. So this is the first battalion. It's all the way here. So 6+ feel no pain. All the units inside this battalion. The trait for that craft world is a 6+, ignoring damage. Just a little bit more resilience there. So Eldrad's the first HQ choice. Exceptionally reliable psyker. Very, very reliable, and time and again in the game, if you check out the previous battle reports, Eldrad has been a massive contribution to this Eldar army. So I believe he went up in points at Chapter Approved 2019, so he's 145 points, but for that you're getting a brilliant psyker. He's got 6 wounds, 6+ feel no pain, a 3+ invuln save, which is fantastic, and then just very reliable with his psychic powers. It's the main reason for taking him. So whenever you pass a psychic test for Eldrad, you can add 1 to the next psychic test you take for him until the end of the phase. It's +1 to all your psychic tests as soon as you pass 1. And then on top of that, once in each psychic phase, you can reroll any number of the dice used for Eldrad or friends attempt to manifest or deny a psychic power. So, really, really good psyker. And then on top of that, he knows 3 psychic powers. No, he can manifest 3 and deny 2 in each psychic phase. Fantastic psyker. And then the resculpt, the model that Games Workshop produced, absolutely brilliant as well. So really, really wanted him in the list. He knows Smite and 3 powers from the Runes of Fate. I'll cover that here actually. I'll try and cover all the details in this video for you. So, and he's so important. You'll see, as you see the other units being introduced here, he's to aid and assist those units in a big way. So the first one is Guide. So warp charge value of 7. So you choose a friendly Assyrian unit within 24. You can reroll failed hit rolls for that unit's ranged weapons until your next psychic phase. So a massive help. Some key units that I've got. Excellent range on that. He's there to support one of my shooty units. Doom is going to be perhaps the most important power. Has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, choose an enemy unit within 24 of the cycle. You can reroll failed wound rolls against that unit. So you pick some kind of target, some heavy target, and you get any rerolls against it, which again is exceptionally useful. So some key powers here, and they're not that easy to manifest. 7. There's a fair chance that's not going to go off. So I need a decent psyker with some kind of bonuses. Ability to reroll some dice. The chance of getting +1 to the result. That all helps try and make these powers go off. And the third power is Fortune, which again you'll see some of the units that I have just to give them that 5+ ignoring wounds. Again, very useful. Yep, very useful. That one there as well, just to add a little bit of resilience as much as possible to this Eldar force. So Eldrad's in. And in the battle reports coming up, keep a lookout for him. He's going to play a vital role in this list. So that's him. The next are my HQ choices. And compared to other armies, for the Eldar, all of them are chosen for a reason and very, very important, and all going to play a vital role. All very different to each other, but each one plays an important role. We'll go for... Yeah, I'll add in the Warlock now. So there's a Warlock, which will be represented by one of the old lead models just here. So that was with some spare points I had at the end. If you look at the old list, I had a good number of... I had another Warlock, I had a Spirit Set. I've dropped all those, so that saves some points to reinvest in other units. Just going to keep one Warlock, and his power will be one of two. So I can choose as I go into a game here. So the first one I might go for is Conceal Reveal. So Conceal, choose a friendly Assyriani or Assyriani biker unit within 18 of the cycle. Your opponent must subtract 1 from all hit rolls for ranged weapons. So just to add a bit of protection, I've got a screening biker unit here, my Shining Spears, and to give an extra -1 to the hit rolls against them for shooting is very, very useful. And that's a 6 as well, so a decent chance of making that one go off. There is a stratagem that gives you +1. If you have a Farseer and a Warlock together, they both get +1, I believe, to their psychic tests. That could be very useful as well. So there's that one. It's a tough choice, or I could go for Protect or Jinx. Jinx is great, -1 to the saving throws of an enemy unit, that's useful enough. And then also Protect as well, which is +1 to the saving throws of an infantry or bike unit. And again, the Shining Spears, for example, 4+ in 1 save shooting becomes 3+ in 1 save, and their 3+ armor save becomes a 2+. So you can see the value in taking that as well. So just one Warlock, but very useful. And I think you can even use that Protect on Eldrad if I need to, and give them a 2+ in 1 save. So you'll notice that when you play an Eldar or putting an Eldar army together, think of your Psykers, and a lot of the powers are there to aid and help out, because your Eldar army, very different styles of units all over the place, but the idea is to work together as a team to bring about victory, and each unit, each HQ needs the other to enhance each other and to get the most out of those units. That's the idea. Notice that a lot with the Eldar, sort of tag team and units working together to make themselves more effective. So you notice these two here trying to help out the bikers to make them tougher and better at hitting enemy targets. So you're making an average unit, making it into something that's really good with some help with some psychic powers. So that's those two. There's a third HQ choice for this battalion. It's a model that I've finished painting just very recently. So it's the new Jane Czar model, just here. I mean, it's huge. Way, way, way above Eldrad in size. Look at the size of that model. So it's not necessarily, it's about the same kind of size, you know, if they both stood upright, but it's just the pose here, just the way she's moving across this terrain here, right up in the air, and a huge hairdo as well. But quite a presence on the battlefield, huge model, that one. So for the rules, Jane Czar is found in here in the Phoenix Uprising, or Phoenix Rising book for Psychic Awakening. And I'll just bring up the new Howling Banshees. So Jane Czar here. You don't get Craft World, she's not going to get the 6+ Feel No Pain. But you've got a very quick model here around the battlefield. 8-inch move, 2+ weapon skill and ballistic skill, strength 4, toughness 4, 6 wounds, nice lot of wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9 and 2+ save. The Blade of Destruction is really good, makes your strength 6, AP -3, D3 damage, and attacks with this weapon you can reroll wound rolls as well. So decent enough, decent character killer, can even put some pretty good damage on a vehicle as well with the ability to reroll the wounds. The vital part for her is 2 areas really. Speed, she can keep up with the jet bikes, I think. Movement 8, and then obviously you can advance on top of that, and then you can charge even if you do advance, and if this model advances this turn you can choose it to charge with it if it's within 15 inches of enemy units within 12, and you can add 3 to the charge roll, so it's very, very quick across the board. And then the Banshee Mask, the vital part here, is No Overwatch allowed, and that may well prove useful for helping other Eldar units getting into close combat. So this HQ is there to move behind other units, which is a character can't be shot at unless it's a sniper unit, and then to charge in first to deny Overwatch and then let other units in. So it's an HQ choice there that's to assist other units going into close combat. So, and plus it's an amazing model. I try and pick units and models that I really like the look of here, and the new Janzar model is utterly incredible, really, really good. And then there's another rule as well. I've got to pick and choose the targets carefully. There's no invuln save for Janzar here, so I've got to be careful. But it is, yeah, the Storm of Silence. When this model fights, you can choose for its attacks characteristic to be equal to the number of enemy models within 2 inches of it after any piling moves have been made. So get stuck into some heavy infantry and pile right into them, and then potentially get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 attacks there if you position the model right. So that's a great bonus there as well. Yeah, the ability to fight first as well. Interesting, very useful, and then War Shout as well. It's -1 to the hit rolls, just make it a little bit difficult to hit as well. So I think for 115 points, it's pretty good. So what I'll just cover the points for you. So 115 points here. It's a bargain for that kind of points cost. 145 for Eldrad, and then 45 points for the Warlock. Just there. So spent out some points on some HQ choices, but I think these ones are pretty good and should help the rest of the army out during the battle. So we've got our HQs, need 2 for a battalion. I've got an extra Warlock there just for the spare points. And then this battalion is there to provide firepower support, really, is the main aim for these. So looking for, I was lacking bodies in the previous list and struggling to deal with screening infantry units and so on. So the first unit of troops, you can see them on camera here already, is to bring back the Guardians, which I haven't used for a long time. They used them in Apocalypse, but maybe a year or 2 since these have been used in my Eldar army. So very glad to see the Guardians back. And the combination I'm going to go for is a unit of 20. So I think they look great in ranks of models. So looking something like this, like that, and then I've got a bareheaded model just to represent the squad leader, although there is no squad leader in the rules. They're all the same, but I'll put those 2 there. That's the crew for 1 heavy weapons platform just there. But I've got a nice block of infantry here now. So Guardian Defenders coming in at 20 of them with a heavy weapons platform, and the points I'm paying is for a Shuriken Cannon, so 175 points for these. You can check out the individual Eldar Tactica videos to focus in specifically on certain units. We roll up some dice usually and really focusing on the rules and cover, exhaustively cover the options and tactics for each of the units. But briefly for them, their weakness is their range, only range 12, and then they're not very tough. 5 up armor save, not very good. Toughness 3, not very good at all. So the Tactica, the plan with these is not to move them up the table. It's going to take a while to get them into position, but instead to deep strike them in. It's quite a common tactic to use for Guardians. It's a web wave strike, just going to cost 1 command point to put them into reserve. And then these are all ways. So they've got a 6+ feel no pain, which is useful for a large unit like that. And then we have Discipline of the Black Guardians. This is an Orthway stratagem, which that's the battalion. Use this stratagem at the start of the shooting phase or fight phase. Pick an Orthway Guardian unit from your army, +1 to hit rolls. That's going to help them out with the shooting. So it can land, deep strike in, stay 9 inches away from an enemy target, but their range of their weapons is 12 inches, so nicely in range. Should be able to get them all in range nicely to let loose with all of those guns. And then there is another one here. Celestial Shield. Uses stratagem, one command point, uses stratagem in the enemy shooting phase when friendly guardian units chosen as a target of an attack, given a 4+ invuln save. So 4+ invuln save, and then 6+ feel no pain on top of that. I think makes them that much more better. So that should just slot. It's not broken. It's there have been pins that I can put different weapons options in there, but 20 of them. So I deep strike them in, so I don't have to move them up the table and the opponent's picking them off and reducing the number down. The deep strike and they land at their full strength. So 20 of them. That's going to be 40 shots. I think one of the crew has to operate the guns, say 38 shots firing through. I can play +1 to the hit rolls, so 2s to hit. If I've got an alt-arc nearby, I can re-roll 1s. And then you start using psychers like this. You could put guide on there, ability to re-roll your failed hit rolls, and then doom, so a chance to shred a target by re-rolling all your wounds. So see how the psyker can help these out, and then some stratagems to try and help protect them a little bit as well, to give them the 4+ invuln save on top of that as well. So they're an ambush unit to arrive and try and make up for the fact that they're not going to last too long if they're moving around, trying to move up the battlefield and trying to maximise their firepower when they arrive on the table. But good to see the Guardians back, and hopefully they'll prove to be a useful unit, and also they help with the structure of the army. They're helping me fulfil the slots required for this battalion. Yes, it would be 38 shots. A heavy weapon platform can only fire its ranged weapon if a Guardian from its unit is within 3 inches and fires it instead of shooting any of their own weapons. So yeah, I won't get 40 shots, I'll get 38. But you'll get the firepower that comes from the platform, but on top of that you're getting a model that has a 3+ armor save, so you're adding a little bit of resilience to the army or to the unit as well. Opponent's got to try and get through a 2 wound model with 3+ armor save, and to then get through to the softer Guardian model, so it adds a little bit more protection as well, adding in that heavy weapons platform. So that's them. Next is 2 troops choices that haven't featured again for a long time. It's Dire Avengers. I'm really glad to see these make a comeback. So if I swing these HQs around here, you can see the army starting to bulk out quite nicely, but Dire Avengers, and again they're going to have a supporting role, so I'm not expecting these to work miracles. They're there just to support the other units on the attack and to lay down some firepower on the move. That's the idea. They're actually one of my favourite units for the Eldar. Love the colour scheme, and the plastic kit's fantastic. Well, I want to say way ahead of its time. The quality of the sculpt for the Eldar plastics is fantastic. So 2 units of 10. Sometimes I used to play back maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was playing small units. It's quite popular to run small units of Dire Avengers, just to have them as objective holders and so on. But I really want to take out full-size squads here for these. And remember, these are all ways. So 6+ feel no pain for these as well, just to add to their resilience a little bit. So 5 casualties taken, roll 5 dice, a couple of 6s, and then it just reduces the number of models being taken out. See the army bulking out quite nicely. My previous list had none of this stuff here, so I was lacking all of that infantry. But these 2, the configuration for them, Power Glaive and Shimmer Shield, so that's granting that unit a 5+ invuln save. And this front unit here, the Exarch, I actually want to give him 2 Shuriken, Avengers Shuriken catapults, just for the unit to be able to chuck out 22 shots from there and 18 shots from that squad at the back, but totaling 40 shots. And I've got a feeling I might want them to work as a pair, so the 2 units working together, just to lay down a blanket of firepower. You do get 18-inch range with these, the Avengers Shuriken catapult, and Assault 2, so you get your maximum range, you're getting your maximum amount of firepower, which is pretty good. And the The potency of shuriken weapons is the AP -3 if you're a 6+ for your wound rolls. And again, that's where Doom can help out. The ability to reroll failed wound rolls and try and get those 6s to come through at AP -3. So Eldrad's there to try and help these out. There's a morale issue for these larger units, but that's something that we'll cover a bit later on. So the infantry, it helps me fulfill the battalion, but their role is, and you'll see it in games, is to clear infantry screens, to strip away enemy infantry as much as possible, to pick on weaker and softer targets, and just to clear away the models and the numbers that the opponent has, and then leaving the heavier targets, usually leaving the heavier targets for my other units to deal with. But that's a vital role, because enemy screens, they can disrupt your other units that you're trying to charge in and get into position, so they'll perform a very important role for that job. So the Avengers here, changing the Exarch power over to Blade Storm, because their main focus for them is firepower. Whilst this unit contains a Dire Avenger Exarch, when resolve an attack made by a ranged weapon that does not have the grenade type, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores an additional hit, so 6 is popping extra hits. Nice volume of shots coming through, so 40 shots should get 5-6 extra hits coming through by rolling up those 6s. So that's the idea with them, just to add even more potential firepower with that Blade Storm roll. So not expecting them to do anything in close combat, it's just their firepower, and against softer targets will be the main priority. So for example, up against Astra Militarum, I'm going to try and clear away those guard screens and front units as much as possible with these units just here. And they're not bad, I get them into cover, 3+ armor save, not too bad. Yeah, and the Warlock, if he's got another target, you could give them +1 to their armor save and play it that way. With Protect, you can even add Protect onto them. Yep, or even if Protect's gone off on them and you've played the Stratagem to give you a 4+ Invuln save, that might become a 3+ Invuln save. I think you can do that as well. So plenty of options, the way your Psychers can be used to help out all the different units. Check out the comments section, and if you are an experienced Eldar player and you have experience using these units that you're seeing here, then by all means leave your own comments and feedback on the way that you go about using these units, and if you have any success with them, and if you're new to collecting Eldar or not sure what units to go for, see what other experienced Eldar players are saying in the comments section below. But I've fulfilled the first battalion here. So points wise, for the unit of 10 with the Shimmer Shield, I have that coming out at 116 points, pretty cheap really for them. And this unit here with the 2 Avenger Shuriken Catapults, 113 points. So cheap units really. If these are wiped out, it's not a big loss there for the Eldar, but bulking out the army quite nicely just there. And I think, yeah, that's all the units I need for that battalion. The second battalion does have some other units, some aspect warriors and so on, being added to that. But I'm liking the look of that. There's a nice bulkiness to that. And when you see the other units, what I'm hoping is the opponent goes after these other units that you're going to see a bit later on, and these get neglected a little bit more, and that means they'll end up surviving a little bit more longer on the battlefield. That's the plan, at least. So we'll bring in the super heavy auxiliary detachment then. Some people are going to go mad when they see this model come back. So it's the Wraith Knight here. I just can't resist putting it into the army. I really love the model, and I know it's not the popular choice for Eldar players at the moment. It's expensive in points. Did take some points reduction for chapter approved 2019, but yeah, he's spending about 400 points on him. But he's in. I'm going to put him in the list. If I do change this list around, I've got a feeling it might well be this model that's dropped and changed out for something else. But he's in for now. The craft world will be a Laytok. So just trying to add a bit of protection. -1 to hit rolls over 12 inches away, just to try and make him a little bit harder to hit with ranged weapons. So, and again, you'll do better with Eldrad helping out. Put Fortune on him, 5+ feel no pain, exceptionally useful. Guide to help with the firepower, again very very helpful indeed, and then Doom as well, ability to reroll wounds coming through, again very very useful. So him and Eldrad is a good combination. Now I still, the Wraith Knight's alright, it's not a disaster of a model, but I know it's going to be a bullet magnet as always, but that's part of the plan. I know it's going to be shot at, and kind of knowing that the firepower is going to be directed against this thing, it'll take the firepower away from other targets. But the Wraith Knight then has dropped in points. It's 285 you start off with. You do have to pay 100 points for the twin Wraith cannons, and then I'm also paying an extra 26 points for star cannons. Yeah, 13 points a time. Never used to take that upgrade, and I had modelled the Wraith Knight without the weapons years ago, and I'd lost the bits to stick them back on again. So these bits here that I've used are actually from Drukhari vehicle kits. It's the shooting weapons you get underneath a Venom, and I cut the blades off and the splinter rifles, and you just kept this bit here, put a magnet on top, and then shaved off the bottom and stuck them on. And then I'll paint, these aren't painted yet, I'll paint them up with the turquoise colour, and then put magnets on the bottom of these. This is just the finishing touches I've got to do to this Wraith Knight here. And there's two spare star cannons, like so, and the magnets. The little magnets I've used, you see that one's stuck on, and that one goes on just there. Those magnets are 0.5 thickness, and they're 4mm, 5mm wide. It's nice and thin, so you'd hardly see them, but they're just on there. That means I can magnetize them if I ever want to change. If I want to lose the upgrade, just take them off, or if I want to swap them out, I can magnetize up some different shooting weapons. But I've gone for star cannons here, just to try and add a little bit more firepower to this model. So, 3 up armor save, toughness 8, 24 wounds. It's not bad. He can stomp with his feet and get about 12 attacks. The star cannon is range 36, heavy 2, so I'm going to get 4 shots because I've got 2 of them. Strength 6, minus 3 and D3 damage. So nice against heavy infantry. And then the heavy Wraith cannon, range 36, but he moves 12. He should be able to get in range quite quickly. Assault 2, so actually going to get 4 shots because I've got 2 of them. Strength 16. Yeah, it's amazing. A really good weapon. AP minus 4, so, fighting against a Russ, or shooting against a Russ. 2's to wound Lehman Russ tank. No armor save because of AP minus 4 and then D6 damage. So just the fear is missing the target and not wounding the target. So Guide and Doom should prove helpful for that. And you can move in and out of combat and still shoot and so on. So I want to use them quite aggressively, try and push up the table, firing as it moves. There's no penalty for that. And then shooting, getting into combat, pulling out, shooting, charging again. If this thing gets in amongst enemy units, it can cause real trouble. And primarily, well, he's there to try and help neutralise heavier targets. So I'm up against Imperial Guard, moving out across against them, and try and pick out a Russ with all of its firepower. Is the idea. So, but I know it's going to get shot at. That's just the way it is. But there's a stratagem, Tears of Isha, lets you restore D3 wounds. I play that for 2 command points. Do have more command points in this list now with the double battalion. And then Fortune as well on the night. Minus 1 to hit rolls as well for a Latok. So all those things stacking up to try and give this thing the best chance possible. So that's the idea of him, but it'll attract a lot of attention for sure. But I'm trying to build the armies. A lot of people ask, are your armies fluffy or are they competitive? It's sort of a mixture of the two. So try and put together an army that I really like as a hobbyist and a collector, and then also try and put together an army that actually does okay on the battlefield as well. So it's not hyper competitive, but it's not purely narrative. It's sort of a blend of the two. That's always the aim, I think, with the armies that I have. Because I want armies that are just going to be a walkover and not very good. It's not good fun to watch that, but at the same time I don't want to go hyper competitive and just this win at all costs and just copying the best list from Google and so on, but rather try and sit down and think of my own ideas. and using units that I like. So yes, the Wraith Knight not the most popular unit at the moment, but in the previous battle reports there were times when it made a great contribution to a game. So I'll not write off the Wraith Knight yet. We'll just have to watch and see. And so the way 40k is at the moment, units not lasting very long with firepower seems to be becoming more and more deadly. So yeah, we'll see how he gets on, the Wraith Knight, but he's in. So that's the second detachment in the list. I'll just tuck him at the back here to make way for the other units to come. So that's the Wraith Knight then. Total for him 411 points if you're going to add on the 385 points plus 26 for the 2-star cannons, so 411 points for him. If I was to drop him from the list, I'd probably go for, I don't know, the options would be Dark Reapers, a Crimson Hunter Exarch maybe, and Wave Serpents as well. You know, that's the kind of options I can go for. Something I can experiment with. I'm going to put the Wraith Knight in for now, and then see what happens. But I've got a bad feeling, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Just clinging on to this model. I really like the model, so I'm going to try and use them in games for a little bit longer and hope for the best. So the second battalion, it's a different craft world this time. So we'll start with the HQ choices. So here's the return of the beloved Prince L'Oreal himself. So he's around here somewhere. Yes, with his flowing blonde hair. This model was the scourge of many an army with the previous list. You can check him out in the battle reports. The way it was configured, just superb, excellent. So the craft world here is Latox. So these units you're going to see in just a moment is -1 to the hit rolls at over 12 inches away, just to add a bit of protection. So if you've got an army that's a little bit soft and not too much toughness, then I'm going to try and make them difficult to hit with shooting. So Latox really helps with that. So -1 to the hit rolls with him, and then he's going to be the Warlord. So it's another unit to help out the rest of the army, as you'll see. So points for him is 95 points, 8 points for the Laser Lance, and it's just 2 points now for the Twin Shuriken Catapults underneath. So he's coming up at 105 points for him. And for that, if you configure him well, that's pretty good. You've got 4 attacks here, 6 wounds, 2+ weapon skill and ballistic skill, 16-inch move, toughness 4 with him, 3 up save. I've given him the Laser Lance, so you've got that 6-inch range, but it's strength 6 -4, 2 damage. It's an excellent weapon if you can get in close enough, and in close combat as well. Strength of the user, strength 3, but if you charge it's strength 6, so shock value there. AP -4, and again 2 damage, really good. It comes with a 4+ invuln save, and it's when you advance it's an auto 6 inches. It's got battle focus, and it comes with path of command. One of the reasons why I've kept him as the Warlord. So you reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly craft world units within 6 inches of this model. So he will not be able to help out this battalion because he's a different craft world, but he'll be able to help out the Wraith Knight, rerolling ones, and the rest of the units that you're going to see a bit later on. And also, if your army's battle forged and the model is your Warlord and on the battlefield, so that he will fulfill all of that. On a 6. Whenever you use a stratagem, roll a d6. On a 6, that command point is immediately refunded. So it's a chance of just clawing back a few command points. I've got 13 command points. I'll maybe roll a couple of 6s during the game, so that pushes it up to potentially about 14 command points there. And that really helps. You know, every command point is so helpful for Eldar because there's so many decent stratagems that they can use. So he's in. The way he's been configured, I was taking him from the index. That's all scraps now. I was taking a Banshee Mask, which gave him no Overwatch. So instead of that option, we go for an Eye on Distant Events. Enemy units cannot fire Overwatch at your Warlord. So I've kept that ability because it's been so useful. He's been able to plunge into any target he wants to. No Overwatch allowed. And it just paves the way for other units charging in. So he's very useful in that regard. So very happy with that. And then And for relics, I give him this one here, but I may choose another one. It's a Shimmer Plume, as before, all target only. Subtract 1 from hit rolls that target this model. So that's going to be ranged attacks and in close combat. So you've got a Laytok -1 to hit rolls, the Shimmer Plume -1 to hit rolls on top of that as well if he is shot at, and then in close combat, if he finds himself in close combat, the opponent's got to take -1 off the hit rolls against him as well. So very useful if you've got a Space Marine with a Power Fist, -1 to hit rolls, another -1 to hit rolls, starting to need 5s to hit, so that's very, very useful. But the other one is the Phoenix Gem. The first time this model is slain, usually does die. Roll a d6 for each unit, friend or foe within 3 inches. On a 2 or more, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. That's pretty good, able to inflict a bit of damage. If at least 1 mortal wound is inflicted as a result of this, the model is not slain, but remains in play with a single wound remaining. If no mortal wounds are inflicted, this model is slain. But yeah, that's really good. Just mightily tempted to go for that as well. With him, I may well experiment and go for that option. But he's the Warlord, and he's there to assist other units by denying Overwatch, granting reroll 1s, harvesting command points, and in close combat he's pretty good himself as well. And quite difficult to deal with as well. There's a couple of minuses to hit him also. So then I need another HQ choice. And again, a controversial choice, but sort of justified putting it in the previous list. And that's the Avatar. And again, I spent out getting the actual Forge World model, which is an amazing sculpt. It's twice the height of the old lead model. And this one is a truly incredible model. Really, really good. And actually rate the Avatar. And he's coming in at 220 points. So there's a lot there. But pretty good. So he's a Laytok. If he is going to be shot at, it's -1 to the hit rolls, over 12 inches away. Because he has the Craftworld keyword, so he does get that. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 2+, strength 6, toughness 6, 8 wounds. So he can hide behind the screens of other units. So you can only snipers can go after him if there's other units nearby, so or in front of him. So the idea is he moves up behind the screen, especially the jet bikes, and then he's able to push forwards and get into position whilst being protected by the screen, and then let loose. And the aim is to get him into close combat, striding up the table as quickly as possible as he pushes up with the assault. So again, just as other units, know that the focus again is not just what he can do, but how he can help out other units on the battlefield. So 5 attacks at 2s to hit. He'll be fighting with a Wailing Doom. It's a shooting option, range 12, assault 1, strength 8, -4 d6 damage. If you get to in range 6, it's 2d6, choose the best for damage. But in close combat, he'll be fighting at strength 8, AP -4, d6 damage, but you're rolling 2 dice, choosing the best for your damage as well. So he's frightening in close combat, especially if a target doesn't have an invuln save. And you may find in the game he charges into a target to prevent Overwatch against him, and then he charges in. They're working together in that kind of combination. He's got a 5+ invuln save. He's got a 5+ feel no pain on top of that as well. That's for wounds or mortal wounds. So there's some resilience there. And then the way he helps out other units, friendly Assyrian units within 12 inches, not just Craftworld, but all the Assyrian units here, do not take morale tests, is the first one. So my larger infantry units, hopefully I'm trying to keep them near him. So when they do take casualties, just ignoring morale. Just nothing to worry about for morale, which is excellent. And then also you can reroll failed charge rolls as well. So you've got more aggressive units, Jane Zar, him, the Wraith Knight, the bikers. They've got the ability to reroll their charges as well, because of the Avatar helping them out. So I think there's some great bonuses there. So I'm trying to build the army a little bit around him, just to make the most of these bonuses. So 220 points, but he's spreading out the value of that, helping out other units nearby. And because I've got more command points now, I'm hoping, I always burn through my command points by the time it gets to this stage, but I want to try and save 3 command points and use the Avatar Resurgent. Use a stratagem, it's 3 command points. Use a stratagem in the fight phase, which usually that's where he dies. He gets into close combat and then is brought down. But use it in the fight phase, if the Avatar of Cain is slain. Do not remove the Avatar of Cain as a casualty. Instead, roll a d6 after the enemy unit that slew it has resolved all of its attacks. The Avatar of Cain remains on the battlefield with that many wounds remaining. So imagine he's slain, and then you roll a dice, you get a 6, and he gets back up with 6 wounds left. That'd be really good. So I really want to try and save the command points to use that during the battle. So that could be like a game changer for him, the ability to see the Avatar get back onto his feet once again. So that's the idea of him. So a decent HQ. It was really painful to think about dropping him from the list. I think he enhances the rest of the army. They need him. They need him there in the heart of the army. But to get the most out of him, he's got to push up pretty quick, up the board, as fast as possible to keep up, not to miss out. I don't want him languishing at the back, missing out on all of the action, whilst other units have already got stuck into close combat. To help him with that, I'll mention all these things because it can help you out if you're using these units yourself. There is one here. Yeah, matchless agility. 1 command point. It's nice and cheap. Use a stratagem before moving the Syria unit from your army in the movement phase. If the unit advances, add 6 to him instead of rolling a d6. Guaranteed 6 inches. 7 plus 6, 13-inch move. Guaranteed. Just by playing that, you really need him to make some progress up the board. So I think that one is very useful. Yeah, I've used that a number of times to make sure he gets up into position, because the last thing you want is movement 7, you roll a dice, get a 1. Nightmare. So, a good spread of HQs here, all uniquely different in what they do, but all there to help the cause, is the idea with those. So now we need troops, and really it's just a continuation of the previous battalion. So it's bringing back the Rangers. So I've got these are all aggressive units here. You've got the medium ranged units that are going to push up and lend some firepower support. Got all these aggressive characters, maybe Eldrad and the Warlock to hold back, but aggressive characters here to join in the assault. The Wraith Knight to play aggressive, middle of the table aggressive as well. So now I've got units that want to hide away in the corners of the battlefield to anchor objectives and to provide some firepower, just to lurk in the shadows and snipe away. So that's what the Rangers are there for. So again, remember these are a Latoc, so -1 to the hit rolls against these. I can just position these here and there, and they can just snipe at targets, and hopefully not attract too much attention is the idea. So we'll tuck another unit there at the back, like so. So 3 units of 5, and that fulfills my 2nd battalion. So looking something like that. And again, we'll zoom out later on and you'll see the whole army laid out here. But Rangers. Sniper rifles. So range 36 sniper rifles. 6 pluses to wound is a mortal wound. Remember, a little bit of doom could help out that, you know, re-rolling your wounds, trying to get 6s to cause mortal wounds in addition to the regular damage. They can deep strike in, appear unbidden, which has been on the errata. Now it's just normal deep strike pretty much with those. Chameleon cloaks here. It's -1 to the hit rolls for ranged weapons against this target, and +2 to saving throws for cover as well. So put them in cover, put them in a ruin or on top of a building, give them their decent save for being in cover, and then -1 to hit rolls, and then also there are Latocs. It's another -1 to hit rolls. You're looking at -2 to the hit rolls, and sometimes the opponent just says, oh, -2 to the hit rolls is, I'm just not going to bother shooting at them, and then therefore they're left alone and they can just continue sniping at different targets. So they can snipe at anything. Snipe at regular infantry, characters, pick off wounds on vehicles. They're just there to lend that firepower for as long as possible during the game. So they're in and they help me fulfill the 2nd battalion. So next is, got 2 units left here. This unit here, the auto include striking scorpions. I'll put them here. We'll just tuck them in here. So it's a full unit of 10, very, very cheap known points. Rangers, by the way, 220 points for him, I think I already mentioned that. 60 points each unit, so 5 of those. And then striking scorpions, full squad of 10. There's the Exarch there. Ariel Doomhand has been named. like so. So squad of 10. Points for them, very, very cheap now. Striking Scorpions, 99 points, is including the Exarch with the Scorpion's Claw and Scorpion Chainsword. 99 points in total. You're getting 2 attacks to the model. 3+ armor save, your heavy aspect armor as well, pretty good. Manda Blasters are deadly enough. At the beginning of each fight phase, you can pick a single enemy infantry unit within an inch of this unit, or a d6 for each model in that unit. For each roll of a 6, the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. So 10 of them, trying to get 6s to cause mortal wounds. You get Shadow Strike +1 to hit rolls for attacks that target unit in cover, and I think that's for shooting and for close combat. Interesting. They're Masters of Stealth, and can deep strike them in as well. So the previous list, I had them on guard duty to protect all my little HQ Warlocks and so on, but now I've gone away from that, and it's just these two really, which should be able to bury themselves in amongst these infantry units. The Scorpions now have more of a free role on the battlefield, so they can deep strike in some corner somewhere, or join in the main attack, or go objective hunting. There's a lot more freedom for them to go and do those things, so more of a free role for these. The Exarch power, I've changed it from the one in the Codex to the one in the book here to someone pointed out Stalker's good, put them in cover, and it's a further -1 to the hit rolls. Remember, these are a LATOC here, so it's -1 to the hit rolls against them at over 12 inches away shooting. The Scorpion's Sting, whilst this unit contains a striking Scorpion Exarch, add 1 to rolls made for the unit's Manda Blasters. So it's nasty if I can get them in against characters. Full strength unit, 10 dice, needing 5s to cause mortal wounds. It's made them twice as effective with their Manda Blaster ability. That's frightening enough. So very happy with that Exarch ability. So 10 Striker Scorpions, 99 points. Absolute bargain. And maybe looking forward to the day when Games Workshop resculpt that unit. But they're in, I have to put them in the army. They're still, visually just a fantastic unit. And I think they'll be useful enough just to, again, contribute to this Eldar list. So the final unit is, now, and I was tempted to reduce the number of these down, but I've kept them at the full size, the previous size of 9, and they've become known as the 9. It's the Shining Spears. I've painted them up in this orange colour. Fire Spears, I call them, just with the colour scheme I've gone for, but it's Shining Spears here for the Eldar unit of 9. So I'll see if I can fit them on the screen here. They're quite a presence on the battlefield. They're on the older bases, these larger bases here, because they don't stand up properly, because there's lead parts to these. They don't stand up properly on the smaller bases, so I've put them on these larger bases just here. But I'll just tuck them all in, and they really are quite a presence on the battlefield. And this is the unit I know the opponent's gonna target and go after, so I'm gonna try and protect them as much as I can. There's the Exarch, just there, and we'll tuck in number 9 at the back, like so. But there they are. So this is my shock unit. I've invested a fair amount of points. So points for these total is 20 points each now. You'd pay 8 points to the Laser Lance, and then just 2 points for the Twin Shuriken Catapults underneath. Obviously paying 2 more points for the Star Lance for the Exarch. So 272 points total for them. So the basic profile you get with these, first of all. So remember I was saying Eldar can lack on toughness. These are bikers, so you're going to get toughness 4, and you're going to get 2 wounds each as well. So 9 is 18 wounds in amongst that unit. 2 attacks each. The Exarch has an extra wound, so 3 wounds, 3 attacks. 16-inch move, so they're very, very quick across the board, and a 3+ armor save. Then on top of that, the Aerobatic Grace models in this unit have a 4+ invuln save against ranged weapons, so when they are being shot at, they've got a 4+ invuln save as well as their 3+ armor save. They're guaranteed 6 inches to their move for advancing. They've got their battle focus, so you can fire at full effect even if you advance with your shuriken weapons, which is the Twin Shuriken Catapults. Again, Twin Shuriken Catapults, you're looking at Add a lot of shots here. 36 shots from that unit if you get to in range 12, and they can fire their laser lances on top of that firepower. It's not picking one or the other; they can fire both. So their firepower's nasty enough for sure. The laser lance already covered that. That's the one that the Autarch has just there. The Star Lance gives you strength 8 for shooting and strength 8 in close combat if you charge. So quite potent there with the Exarch. And yeah, Expert Hunter. You can reroll wound rolls for Shining Spear Exarch when attacking a monster or vehicle. Yeah, I've dropped that and gone for something else. I'm trying to think of all the ways I can to protect this. I know it's going to get shot at, and rightly so, because it's a dangerous unit. So I'm going to try and protect it as much as possible. First off is a Elatok, -1 to hit rolls for shooting. Then, they're going to be the tip of the spear, pushing forward this wedge, and so they're going to receive a lot of firepower. So there's then a stratagem. Lightning fast reactions. 2 command points, but I've got more command points in the army now, so it's not so bad. It's an infantry or biker unit, or infantry or friendly Assyrian unit with a fly keyword is chosen as the target of an attack in the shooting phase. It's an extra -1 to the hit rolls, so -1 to the hit rolls, a further -1 to the hit rolls, so -2. You're charging in against guard, 4+ ballistic skill. Units are going to be severely affected by that. So trying to make it difficult to hit in the first place. And then the little Warlock here. I can either go for Conceal to give a further -1 to the hit rolls, or I can go for Protect to give them a bonus to their armor save, which I'm more tempted to go for. That'll give them their 3+ armor save, a 2+ armor save, and then their 4+ invuln save in shooting becomes a 3+ invuln save in shooting. And then on top of that, another little trick, and I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to do it, and if you know otherwise and you're experienced Eldar player, then leave it in the comment section. But it's to go to this book here, and for Shining Spears, give Skilled Rider to the Exarch. It gives him a 3+ invuln save against attacks made with ranged weapons. 3+ invuln save, add Protect on top of that, gives him a 2+ invuln save, and then just keep a command point reroll available for if one gets through. So some heavy weapons being fired, 2+ invuln save, and then a command reroll on standby, just to try and block that from coming through. So that's the idea with him. And the Exarch pretty good actually, because if he dies, the leadership's not going to be affected. The regular Shining Spear models are leadership 8 anyway. They're just going to lose that model with the extra attacks. But he's got 3 wounds, so it could perhaps absorb a bit of damage coming through as well. So 2+ invuln save. I like the idea of that. It's just to tank as much damage as possible, just to absorb in the opponent's firepower, and to waste a lot of their firepower trying to hit the target and then trying to wound the target, and then just all of it bouncing off with invuln saves, protecting these as well. And the idea is to make this screen as tough as possible to then let these other characters get in and start causing trouble. So that's the idea, to try and make those as hard as possible, and the opponent ploughing lots of energy into them to get rid of them, and the Wraith Knight leaves these other units alone to manoeuvre and fire and to help out. So that's starting to get the idea of the overall plan now for this Eldar force. So that's the list. So just to run through it again, just to call these out, I've got Eldrad at 145 points, giving him Doom, Guide and Fortune. This is the Orthway detachment here for Battalion number 1. Janezar, 115 points. Guardians with 1 platform here with Shuriken Cannon, 175 points, 20 of them. Dire Avengers, 2 units of 10. The Shimmer Shield and the Ghost Glaive, 116 points. Another unit of 10 with the 2 Avenger Shuriken Catapults, 113 points. The Super Heavy Auxiliary Detachment is a Elatok for the Wraith Knight, 411 points. That's the 2 Heavy Wraith Cannons and also the 2 Star Cannons on top as well. 2nd Battalion is Elatoks, -1 to hit rolls at over 12 inches away for shooting. The Autarch with the Laser Lance and the Twin Shuriken Catapults, 105 points. He's the Warlord, and the Relic, the Shimmer Plume, and no Overwatch allowed against him. Avatar, 220 points. 3 units of Rangers, 60 points each. Striking Scorpions with the Scorpion's Claw, 99 points. Shining Spears with a Star Lance on the Exarch, 9 of them, 272 points just there. And then the Warlock at 45 points. That gives me a total, pretty sure it's correct, 1996 points. So 4 points somewhere to spend. I don't think there's any kind of upgrades anywhere that I can get for 4 points. So 1996 points for this Eldar list. So it's a continuation on from the previous list. I tried to look at the weaknesses. One of them was lack of models and numbers, and so I've tried to compensate for that, and struggling to deal with screens as well, enemy infantry. So I've bumped up the infantry units here to try and aid with that as much as possible, and then a decent HQ thrown in there, Jane Czar, to prevent overwatch and to go character hunting, heavy infantry hunting as well. That's the plan for this Eldar list. The real test will be when they appear in battle to see how well they perform in the various season battles that we have lined up for them. So there it is. I'll zoom out now. We'll take a look at this army laid out. We'll zoom out and take a look. Alright, so that's the list laid out here for the Eldar. You see the variety of colours, which is one of the great appealing things about the Eldar, all these different aspect warriors and different units and so on. Check out the painting tutorial. That's that turquoise colour scheme that you can see here. I'll show you how to paint that in the Eldar painting tutorial that's available on the channel. So HQ choices, they do play a vital role. They're all there to do their own thing, but also to support the rest of the Eldar units. So supporting psychers to help out the whole of the army. Some decent HQ choices to help out in close combat, but to assist other units as well, denying overwatch of these, the avatar buffing morale and helping units reroll their charges as well. Some sniper units to hold the back objectives and so on. My vanguard here, the main tip of the spear, and the main screening unit is the Shining Spears, supporting infantry units here, one to come in ambush and the others to push up with their firepower. And then the Scorpions, a bit of a free roll around the battlefield, and then finally the Wraith Knight to lend some heavy firepower and some help in close combat, and to be a bullet magnet as well to divert the attention of the opponent. So expect during battles the opponent to go after these two units here, and hopefully that buys time for these other units to get into position and cause damage as much as possible. That's the plan with this Eldar force, and I want it to be nice and swift across the battlefield and to make speedy and deadly attacks, and to see these characters perform great heroic deeds on the battlefield as well. That's the idea, but that's the list then for this Eldar force. Leave your own comments and feedback, what you think of the list, what units you'd add in, what units you'd take out, change and upgrades, unit sizes, all those things are open for discussion. If you're an experienced Eldar player, then leave your own comments and feedback, and check out and see what other Eldar players are saying in the comments section below. And check out the paint tutorials, the extra Tactica videos that are available for this faction, and then the battle reports, games that have already been played, and then keep a lookout for more battle reports coming for Season 8 as well. But there it is, that's 2,000 points of Eldar, chapter approved 2019. Keep a lookout for more complete armies coming to the channel soon. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.